Finally, Brandon's favorite team on the planet, the Miami Heat. Heat culture in effect. The over, there's a 48.5 in the market. There's an under 49.5 in the market. That's a pretty good one. Pretty good to just basically be like, are they a 50-win team or not? They have no power forward. They have none. They don't have power. I asked the guys that locked on Heat over the summer about this, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't have one. There's no power. There's no power forward." They were like, "It's probably going to be Markieff Morris when he eventually resigns," and he signed with the Nets. That was their best case scenario, and it fell through. They do not have a power forward right now. It's Udonis Haslem, maybe. That's like their power forward. Brandon, what's your projection for the number 1 seed Eastern Conference finalist, Miami Heat?
I mean, this team wooed Udonis Haslem. They pulled out the red carpet to get Udonis Haslem back, and now we know why. They need the man in their starting lineup. I have the Heat at 46 to 52 wins. If that sounds familiar, it should. That is precisely the win range I gave to the Atlanta Hawks. I have them identically equal to each other. We'll talk about that in the division odds. I have the Heat 12th on offense, 4th on defense. I'm a little worried about the defense because that power forward they don't have anymore is PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, when he left Houston, the defense dropped from 14th to 27th the following year. PJ Tucker joined the Bucks. They were elite, historically good, winning a title. They finished 14th last year. Defense is not a one-man game, but those are not good trends for when you leave a team, what is left behind you. PJ Tucker is a very good player. He's part of why I really like Philadelphia this year, and his absence is part of what makes me worried about the Heat. I have the Heat 46 to 52 wins. I feel like I can much more easily see the path where things go really badly than the one where things go well again. Here's my biggest concern. Jimmy Butler is 33 years old, just played his most minutes since the 2017 run and since the 2019 run and the 17 playoffs. And both of those times, after he had these long, deep runs in the playoffs, he played the fewest games and the fewest minutes of his career in the year right after that. Jimmy Butler is a Tibbs guy. We've talked about this on past years in the podcast. Kyle Lowry is 36, cannot have too many miles left in his tank. And this team, they're deep because they keep finding guys, but you need Butler and Lowry out there. And so no PJ Tucker, limited Butler from what he's been. He's been awesome the last couple of years, so they need him. I worry about the downside of this team.
Yeah. It's a stay away for me because the number is super high. The number's super high, so I can't bet the over. You mentioned they keep finding guys. That's the thing, is that this team is, everyone loses their mind about Ty Lue and Nick Nurse, and Eric Spoelstra's over there cranking out great teams over and over and over again. He lost Lowry for months last year. He lost Bam for months last year. He lost Butler for months last year. Number 1 seed. Duncan Robinson fell off a cliff. Number 1 seed. Had to play Max Strus. Had to get Max Strus to be like a starting caliber guy. Number 1 seed. Heat culture's a thing, and it's built around Riley and a great front office from Ellsberg and Adam Simon. Those guys are top of their absolute fields. Eric Spoelstra is at the top of his field. Their entire organization is top of its field. So you're like, they need those guys. I don't believe they do. This team will find ways to win because they will sneak out. That they'll be lying in the reads, and a team will come in off of a big win versus Memphis and head to Miami and be like, woo, what a great win. Oh, Butler's out. No problem. How are we down 7? They just do this. Like, they just do. I don't want to bet the over for everything you talked about. There's no internal improvement here. There's no young player I can point to and go like, you know, who's going to be better this season and can step up is that guy. There's nobody. They don't have anybody. So I can't go that route. Like the only way for you to buy into that theory is like Bam Adebayo finally becomes like an elite player in the league. I'm not going to bet on that. I'm not going to bet on Bam Adebayo becoming a higher usage anchor. He's great. He should have won DPOY last year if Draymond Green didn't win it. But like, he's never going to be the offensive hub. He's just not. There's very little to get excited about with that team. They're not sexy. But I will say this. Teams in the last 10 years that won 50 or more games and then had a win total of less than 50 have gone 9-6 to the over. They're going to continue to look at trade opportunities. Like they will continue shopping and trying to make that big move. They didn't get it done with Donovan Mitchell. They didn't get it done with Durant. They will keep looking. Like this is going to be a team that is always lying in the reads, waiting for a guy that is like, I want to play for the Heat because they're a winning organization. The floor for me, Brandon, I think is higher for me than it is for you based off of your projection. And like that makes a lot of sense given the kind of things I care about. I will say, like, you talk a lot about the defense. You should believe in the defense, and that should probably raise the floor a little bit. Even if the offense is bad in the regular season, their ability to just game out wins versus bad teams should be good enough. I'm going to stay away from it at 48.5 to 49.5. If this was 46.5, I'd definitely be on the over, but it can't be because they won so many games last year. That's the other trend is like teams that win a ton of games the previous year tend to go under. So for me, this is a pure stay away.
Yeah, and you're right. The defense does give them a high floor. So when I talk about like the low end outcome, I'm not talking about the bottom just dropping out because with Heat culture and just with how good the defense is, as long as Bam is out there in particular, like that definitely gives a real floor. A lot of the teams that they compare to recent Sixers teams, the Raptors, the Grizzlies from a couple years ago, the Jazz from a few years ago, before the Jazz made their bigger leap. Those are all teams that are like, yep, those check out. Those were teams that won a bunch of regular season games because the defense was really good and they just showed up every night and they tried hard. Like that's it. That's what Miami is. We know that. I think the key for me, and I'll talk about a couple division and playoff type bets here, because the key for me with Miami and Atlanta in comparison to each other, because look, this division, we just ruled out the other three teams. This is a Miami, Atlanta, or nothing division. I think that is pretty clear. The bookmakers have made the lines pretty clear on that as well. With Atlanta, like these lines are similar, but for me, the case for Atlanta is it's all ceiling.
Yeah.
Like I don't see a big case for why the bottom falls out. And the case is just their defense is really bad, but that already happened last year. It can really only be better there. For Miami, the case is way easier for me to make the case for the floor with the age and the injuries and the depth. And just really, you look at the rest of the East around them. You just said Miami does not have an internal improvement candidate. Miami is not better than last year. They're not. There's not a case for Miami is better than last year. Here's teams that are definitely better than last year. Atlanta, they added DeJounte Murray. Cleveland added Donovan Mitchell. The Celtics were better at the end of the year than they added earlier, and they added more guys. The Nets actually have players. The Sixers got better. The Bucks should be healthier. All the other teams that matter in the conference all got better. The Heat did not. The Heat got worse. So in the division, why I like Atlanta, and the Atlanta division is my favorite play of the entire podcast. Atlanta at plus 190. I have the Heat favored actually in the division, but slightly. I told you I have those two win projections the same, 46 to 52. I think the Miami median outcome is slightly safer just because of defense. That's how this works. But that basically makes this close to a coin flip. Like Miami 50 to 52%, Atlanta 45, 47% range. But at plus 190, we're implying something more like 35%. And that to me is the best value of anything here. So that's why I want the Hawks division.